right, people. Yeah, I'm gonna jump right into this today because I had several stories, so I'm gonna kind of split this one up into two segments. And this one has a lot to do with a real bad situation that happened in New York. It was a young woman that had got arrested by two cops in New York, and just recently they it's just like it's a crazy situation where the cops just get away with whatever they do. It seems like City Hall and all the rest of these guys feel everything they do is okay. Now, in this situation, you had a young woman that was picked up by two cops, and she was raped by two cops, and now the city of New York decided, well, they're not going to even press no charges against these guys. Said the two former New York detectives will serve no prison time after pleading guilty to bribe, taking, and official misconduct for having sex in a police van with a young woman they arrested and released, prosecutors said Thursday. Prosecutors had requested that Eddie Martins, 39, and Richard Hall, 34, receive sentences ranging from 1 to 3 years in prison, Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said in a statement. But State Supreme Court Danny Chun indicated each defendant will be sentenced in October to 5 years probation, according to Gonzalez. The plea agreement was offered by the court without the prosecutor's consent because the defendants pleaded guilty to the entire indictment, the district attorney said. In court, the judge said he agreed to probation because prosecutors had demonstrated that violent felony counts against the defendants, including rape charges, were eventually dismissed, couldn't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The credibility of the victim or complainant in this case was seriously questionable at best, according to the court transcript. While scientific evidence in the case was very compelling, Chun said, there was a possibility of a jury convicting only on the misdemeanor charges. The offer of probation without jail time was not unjust or unfair, since the former officers had resigned from their jobs and had accepted felony convictions with their pleas, the judge said, according to the transcript. Now the cops, they resigned from the job, and now they end up getting probation for raping a lady that they had picked up, and they said, well, I guess it's one of those situations where they pick you up and they decide, well, if you do this, we'll let you go. But they didn't think that the lady was going to come back and file charges against them, and that's exactly what she did. So as of that thing that just came out, the person who this situation happened to, they're going to file federal civil charges against these people, against them and the city. So it says that even the detective's DNA was recovered from the woman, prosecutors said. So it's like they had all this. It said the detective handcuffed and arrested the woman after she told him she had marijuana and 2 pills. The statement said the 2 passengers were allowed to leave. So it was like 3 people in the car. They let 2 of them go, and 2 male passengers, they let them go, but they kept the female. And obviously now we know why they kept the female and they let the two. It's a sad case. This country is coming unraveled, and the cops are basically if there's something going on, I think I'll just call my family members instead of calling the police, because you would probably get better results from your family members coming to help you. Here's a second case where you have a young man named DeMario Perkins, and this case happened in Memphis. It says no criminal charges are being sought in the 2018 police shooting of Mario Perkins, according to members of the Perkins family who met with Shelby County prosecutors Friday. Sheila Perkins, the mother of DeMario Perkins, and Janine Hill, a cousin, confirmed they met with Shelby County District Attorney Amy Weinrich, who told them body camera footage of the shooting would be released within the next 2 weeks to a month. Perkins was pulled over in a traffic stop on the night of July 18th in the area of 3rd Street and Mitchell Road in Whitehaven by Memphis police officers Brandon Barnes and David Renke. Officers said when they approached Perkins, he told him he was suicidal. During a confrontation, Perkins was shot 10 times, including the fatal shot to the head. According to the autopsy, the fatal shot was in the head. The medical, the shot to the head was self-inflicted and listed it as the cause of death before the other 9 shots were fired by the police. So some kind of way justice has to come out of this, not just for my son DeMario, but for the mothers that out there who the children have been slaughtered in the streets. That was the kid's mother had made that statement. I don't know. It's really a crazy situation we're dealing with here. Here's case number 4, which has to do with the DEA. DEA made nearly 300 arrests in a massive crackdown in Florida. So what they did was they did a massive crackdown on a dozen pharmacies in Florida this week, seizing more than 200,000 opioid pills and other pills in a sweeping surge operation. So they're cracking down on the pharmacies over there in Florida. The Drug Enforcement Administration agents arrested nearly 300 people this week, seizing some 600 pounds of illicit drugs, some more than 35 weapons, and roughly $3.3 million in assets, including a yacht, as part of a sweeping surge operation across Florida. The agents with the DA's Operation Cazador also searched and shuttered a dozen pharmacies in the state between Tuesday and Thursday, seizing more than 200,000 pills, opioids, and other pills in the crackdown at the center of a national epidemic. We're out there trying to get ahead of this problem, trying to reduce fatalities in our communities, Justice Miller, Chief Intelligence Agent of the DEA, said, which I don't agree with, because he's talking about they trying to get ahead of it. The problem's been there for years. So how can you get ahead of something that's already steamrolled and killed? Thousands of people have lost their lives, and then you're talking about you trying to get ahead of it. No, that's the wrong thing to say. More than a dozen people were arrested in connection with a convenience store in Winter Garden, Florida. The DEA says was a front for a drug ring connected to multiple overdose deaths. In the meantime, Ormond Beach, DA nabbed a pharmacist who had been arrested once before, stripped of her license, and slated for trial, but she reopened her pharmacy and started reselling opioids again. The pharmacy could be anywhere in our communities through the country, said Marcus Allen, Assistant Special Agent in charge of Miami DEA. So the DEA is trying to do a little something, trying to do a little something there. But I think the damage, most of the damage is already done. Most of the damage has already been perpetrated. Here's another story here. The feds announced the seizure of enough fentanyl to kill 14 million people. Wow, that's amazing. Enough fentanyl to kill 14 million people. So as we know, the baseball player that was for the Angels, they had just diagnosed with the autopsy of him that he had fentanyl and opioids in his system when he died, also alcohol. And so I don't know how that, the Major League Baseball, they're going to have to make some changes and start testing these baseball players for other drugs other than steroids. They're going to have to start checking them for opioids now. Story says a multi-state investigation involving more than 24 law enforcement agencies led to the seizure of enough fentanyl to kill more than 14 million people from a drug trafficking ring operating out of Virginia, federal prosecutors announced Thursday. During the raids, dubbed Operation Cookout, officials seized 30 kilos of fentanyl and heroin, 5 kilograms of cocaine, 24 firearms, and over $700,000 in cash. More than 30 agencies involved worked 3 days to arrest 35 of 39 defendants in Virginia, North Carolina, and Texas for their alleged roles in the distribution operation based in Hampton Roads, according to a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Virginia. This operation, though a seizure of scores of kilograms of illicit narcotics, saved the lives in the Eastern District and elsewhere, Terwilliger said. The 106-count indictment, unsealed Thursday, charges with the defendants with conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute cocaine, heroin, cocaine base, and fentanyl, conspiracy to launder money, felon in possession of firearms, maintaining a drug-involved premise, use of a communication facility in furtherance of drug trafficking, interstate travel in aid of trafficking enterprises, and illegal re-entry by a previously deported or removed alien. The drug traffic conspiracy began in 2016. According to the indictment, the defendants are accused of buying the drugs from Mexico, California, and New York, then moving them around Virginia using hidden traps in various vehicles, according to the prosecutors. They carried out and planned for drug deals in various locations throughout Hampton Roads, including houses, parking lots, and businesses. Pharmaceutical fentanyl is used to treat severe pain. While opioid is highly addictive, most recent cases of fentanyl-related harm, overdose, and death in the United States are linked to illegally made fentanyl, which is often mixed with heroin, cocaine, or both, according to the Centers for Disease and Control Prevention. Overdose death involving synthetic opioids jumped by about 47% from 2016 to 2017. About 28,400 people died that year from overdoses involving synthetic opioids. So these people are actually manufacturing their own fentanyl. So this is not something they're getting from a pharmacy. This is something that's being manufactured, and they have trailed it, and they've discovered that the majority of the chemicals that they are getting are coming from China. This stuff is being imported from China, and it's so powerful that he said that 1/8 of a teaspoon would be enough to make the strength of a 2 pound or a kilogram of heroin, make it 10 times stronger than what it was from the beginning. So these guys are not chemists. They're just like, back alley guys just sitting there trying to create this stuff and make it up. So, people really, really take a chance when they're out there doing what they do, and they just out there, taking for granted that, you're not getting this from a pharmacy, you're getting it from people on the street. So it is what it is.
KP.
That's the news for this Sunday.
KP.
I might do another one later.
KP.
How you like my new theme song?
KP.
Thought I put a little bass on it this time.
KP in the news.
Peace.